that this organization is incredible for individuals that are in your field. So with that said, I'm probably gonna take my face away and we're gonna get started going through the presentation. One of the things that I will ask, I don't know how much time we may have afterwards for Q&A, but if you do have a question while I'm going through the slides, feel free, if that's okay, Lawan, to interrupt to ask your question. I'm very cognizant of the fact that resume enhancing is not an exciting subject, but it is a necessary subject. So I've tried to make the presentation as short as possible because what I really want to do is to be able to answer questions that you may have. Okay, so we're going to get started. So for the next probably 10 slides, we will focus on rebuilding your resume for the win. We will start by making sure that we're all clear on what a resume is, okay? A winning resume is something that can help you stand out in a competitive job market. When you craft your resume, there are vital components that you need to make sure are included that's going to attract the right attention and serve the purpose of the resume. So let's talk. What is a resume? Many people say a resume is a piece of paper that lists your job history and you use it for interviews. I say they are wrong. A resume is much more than a piece of paper with employment history, okay? A resume is a marketing tool. In most cases, it's going to be your first introduction to a recruiting manager or a hiring manager. So when we think about a resume, we think about a glimpse, we think about a snapshot, we think about a reflection, we think about an introduction of how incredibly fierce and capable you are. To me, that's what a resume represents. So as we continue to talk about the resume, there are 4 essential parts of a winning resume. And these components, although they are simple, they are vital in helping your resume stand out and attract the attention you need to get the interview in the type of market that we're in today. So that first element or component is going to be your structure and your format. Second is going to be your compelling information, not just your work history, not just your education, but it needs to be compelling, because, everybody who's applying for the job went to school. Everybody who's applying for the job, had a job before, but everybody who's applying for the job will not present a compelling case as to why they should be chosen for an interview. Your resume needs to be clean and easy to read, and you'll understand better why that is later on in the presentation. Your resume needs to be free from errors. Okay, so we didn't give my history. I have had 15 plus years of experience as a professional recruiter and executive search recruiter. I can tell you for sure, one of the things that will get your resume trashed quickly is errors. So you want to make sure when you are compiling your resume, that you have your resume reviewed over and over and over again before you submit it. I've seen great looking resumes just put to the side because of errors. So you definitely don't want that. The next thing we're going to go to is just the structure. So the structure and format of your resume, it's very consistent. It really has not changed for a very long time, right? You want your name, your contact information, city and state. Notice I did not say address. That's one of the things that we've changed for a resume. You don't necessarily need to include your address, and you do that for security reasons. You do that to help prevent um, geographical discrimination. Okay. But you want to make sure your name is there. You want to make sure your contact information is there, your email address, your phone number, so that recruiters will be able to get in contact with you should they want to move forward. The other piece is your objective statement or your professional. Anybody see that? Let me go back. I did that on purpose.
Yes, the N was missing.
That's right.
Professional.
And you see how easy that is. Your professional is supposed to be professional summary. This would have gotten a resume thrown out. Okay. So I just want you to make sure that you're hyper vigilant about errors, because that's probably one of the most critical reasons why folks with the background, the education, the experience get passed over. Okay. Your education, your experience, and then your activities and skills, accomplishments, and relevant organization. So I split this up as a head, a middle, and an end. So once we have our resume formatted correctly, we're going to talk about ensuring that our content is compelling, because this is really what's going to set a winning resume aside. The tone of your resume should be enthusiastic, it should be upbeat, it should be professional and impressive enough to get the recruiter's attention. You want to make them want to read or spend time perusing your resume. Put your strongest relevant points first. Use action words, as complete or develop or managed, to make sure that it grabs their attention. So let's look at some of these. Compelling, how to create the compelling content. Okay, utilize keywords, industry job descriptions. So I tell my clients, I have a job search coaching program. I tell my clients, when we are going through that program, I need a copy of the job description for the position that you're trying to get. And I usually have them get me 2 or 3 job descriptions. And we comb through those job descriptions, sentence by sentence. This is so important to ensure that the resume we're creating is going to strongly align with the position. Okay, so gone are the generic resumes. You need to make sure that your resume is written with the job and company that you are trying to get to in mind. So if you're applying to multiple jobs, then you're going to have multiple resumes, right? In some instances, you just want to make sure that you are looking at the job description line by line, and you want to make sure that your resume is reflecting what you see on that job description, and you'll understand more why that's so important as we move on. Okay, quantify your achievements whenever possible. Don't just list that you sold widgets, right? You're going to say you sold widgets and increased sales by 20% at the end of the year. You're going to quantify whatever you're doing when you can. That's going to help grab the attention of the recruiter and the hiring manager. Place bullets in the order of your strongest and most relevant experience. And that's simple. That's easily understood. And also, as you're looking at the job description, they're going to have bullets of the responsibility for the role. You're going to want to make sure that your bullets line up in order of priority based on what you're seeing too on that job description. Okay. Use descriptive action words. We talked about that. Strong, actionable, confident, verbs and adjectives. Make sure you are descriptive. You are describing, you're painting a picture. You're giving a brief glimpse of your story. So you want to make sure you're describing what you did by using action words that grips attention. Here are some of the ones that I put down: managed, analyzed, certified, standardized. I looked at accounting resumes, and these were some of the adjectives that came up in terms of how you want to make sure you're presenting your information. Be honest. Be honest. I can't tell you also how many times that we've had candidates caught in dishonesty, and of course it caused them not to be able to get the job. And also remember, your experience is not dictated by your job description. When you started working the job you're on, you had a job description. But once you got into that role, you found out that your job consists of much more than what was on the job description. Job descriptions are standard documents. Once you get on the job, you find out that you're digging a little deeper, you're getting a little more entwined, you're doing a little bit more work than you actually agreed to when you started your interview, when you interviewed. That information is very important to make sure that you're including that on your resume to help it stand out. Okay. Are there any questions about any of that? Okay. So
I have a question.
Yes.
I was going to say, what if there is a gap in your work history? How would you list that?
So if you have a gap in your work history, you do want to indicate that. You don't want a recruiter to go through your resume and they see 2 years with nothing, right? In between jobs. What I encourage you to do, if you have a gap and you do some of the things that I've seen for gaps, I've seen gaps on resume where individuals have said that they took a year off for mental health and professional reflection. They in that time, they took up a course, they did studies, so they indicate that in that gap, right? And what that says is, I was still doing something. If you have to take off some time to care for an ailing relative, you just put during that gap period, personal time for family emergency. So you need to indicate it's those reasons that I just gave you are very reasonable and does not take anything away from your employment history. But if you leave it blank or you just have nothing there, then you leave the recruiter wondering before they've even had the opportunity to reach out to you. And you don't want that to happen. So depending on what you're doing or what that gap period is, you're going to indicate it, but you're going to indicate it in a way in which, it reflects positively on you.
Thank
Does
you.
anybody have a situation where you've had a gap and you struggled with that? Okay, great. So for this slide, I wanted to talk a little bit about your purpose or your objective. And I know that there are a range of individuals that are a part of this organization, from recent college graduates to midlife professionals. So one of the things that I would recommend, if you have less than 3 years of experience, right? You're going to use an objective. And this particular objective, to obtain a position as a staff accountant with a reputable company where I can apply my knowledge of financial reporting and analysis. Ideally, that financial reporting and analysis is something that was seen in the job description, and you're including that in your objective to support companies' financial goals, right? So the objective here is complete. You said what you're looking for. You're applying for a staff accountant position. You're looking for a position as a staff accountant. You want to work at a reputable company and apply your knowledge of some of the things that they have listed as responsibilities in that job description. Okay. If you are a mid-professional, I'm gonna say 3+ years. A lot of people say 5+ years. I'm gonna say 3+ years. You want to do a professional summary, right? Because a professional summary is going to highlight your skills and expertise and some of the things that you've done. So you would want to do that. And remember, you're pulling from that job description. You're looking at that job description to see what it is they're looking for, and you're incorporating that as a part of those things that you have done as a part of your professional summary. Okay. Okay. So here are some other things that are very important that you should know. Okay. And applying this information to your resume, the way you construct your resume, is going to help you have a winning resume. So, who's heard of the 6-second scan? Okay, studies have revealed, this is true, that recruiters look at your resume an average of 6 seconds. They glance it for 6 seconds before determining if you're fit for the role. Okay? So, that means that if I, as a recruiter, am not seeing the descriptive verbs and adjectives in your resume that's on my job description, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of extra time on your resume. So that's why it is so critical for you to study the job description, to make sure that you're grabbing from that job description in your resume for that particular position, because you have 6 seconds to make an impression on the recruiter or the hiring manager with your resume. I know you've heard of the resume black hole. So the resume black hole is about resumes that get lost. You don't hear back from anybody. You don't know if your resume was looked at, or if it got lost or if it never reached the, you just don't know because you've applied and you've heard nothing. There are ways to prevent that in a winning resume, okay? A winning resume is going to be less likely to encounter the black hole, again, because they're going to be so strongly aligned with the position. Your skills, your abilities are going to be aligned with what you see on the job description. Your format is going to be appropriate, clear, concise, and easy to follow, so the recruiter will want to look at it. And you're going to proofread to make sure that there are no errors. The majority of the time, you've submitted your resume and you're not hearing back. A lot of it has to do with volume, but the other piece is, there are errors and your resume was just put to the side. So you want to really take stock in some of the things that I'm sharing so that you make sure that your resume is a winning resume. Okay. The other thing that you can do, and I encourage, is don't just apply on, like Indeed or Monster or Career Builder or even LinkedIn. Send your resume, go directly to the company's site and apply. As recruiters, we tend to look at the resumes that come through our ATS system first, right? So make sure even if you apply on one of the job boards, go to the company site and submit your resume. So you strengthen your chances of your resume being seen. Also, I encourage you, use your networking tool, right? LinkedIn, it's there for a reason. Find a recruiter, find someone who's a recruiter at the company you're applying to. Reach out to them, send them an invitation to connect. When they do connect, send them a message about, how you admire their company. You are a certified public accountant and you've applied for a position there and you just wanted to reach out to try to help make sure that your resume is seen because you feel like you strongly align with the requirements of the role and what they're looking for. Attach a copy of your resume. Whether they respond to you or not, that's fine, but you've done that. So that's another way to reach out to kind of help make sure that your resume doesn't get lost in this black hole. Okay. I know as a recruiter, anytime someone did that to me, I would always get their resume to the right recruiter for the position. Okay. So that's something that you may want to add to your job search strategies when you are applying for positions. Remember, go to the company site and apply. Look for a recruiter on LinkedIn for that company. Let them know you've applied for the position. You strongly feel your experience would be a great fit, and attach a copy of your resume there. Okay. Okay. So the applicant tracking system, and this is why I say make sure you go to the company website and apply. The applicant tracking system, the ATS, when you apply for a job online, it goes through the system. A job requisition, as recruiters, we create a job requisition, we enter that into the company's ATS system. It displays desired skills, job title, requirements like number of years of experience. It basically provides information that allows the system to create the ideal candidate, right? And as resumes come through the system, The ATS system parses and sorts the resumes and rank them according to the requirements, okay? And how closely they match the profile that's created in the system. So, again, that is knowing that job description, the requirements, ensuring that if you have that experience, it's noted on your resume, and then you're applying to the job boards, but you're going to apply to that company site as well. All of these enhance the opportunity for your resume to be seen, okay? You see that? Please, whatever you do not include your photo on a resume. Recruiters hate it. 88% are more likely to be passed aside. When we see photos on resumes, and this is when I was in the recruiting business, one recruiter would say, "Well, you look at this," and then that resume is going directly into the no way pile. So you want to make sure, and I know you guys are not doing that because you're too professional, but you want to make sure you don't do that. And I think if you are in a creative role, that's totally different. But we're talking about resumes, so you would not include that. And I did not want to take it for granted that you knew that, because you would be surprised at some of the resumes that I've seen and where they've come from with photos on them. So you want to make sure you don't do that.
Tina, we have Maxine has her hand raised.
Hi, Maxine.
Hi, Tina. Thank you. I do agree about not putting photos on resumes, but I do want to. They usually ask for your LinkedIn address, and so they can click on the address and see your photo anyhow.
Right.
So,
yes. And that's perfectly fine. And
fine.
Thank you, Maxine, for bringing that up, because I did not mention that. At your header, you should have the link to your LinkedIn profile. Just make sure your LinkedIn profile aligns with your resume. But yeah, that's a whole different situation, because your LinkedIn profile is a professional networking tool, and we do use that, and we think that it is appropriate, but we still think that it is not appropriate to put your resume on a resume.
Thank you. I agree.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So here are some to-dos, and I'm just kind of bringing it all together, right? Make sure that you have a clear understanding of the position. Now, how much have I expressed that? Because that's going to be the thing that gets you in the door, making sure that you have a clear understanding of the role, making sure that your resume aligns with the requirements of that job description. Make sure your resume is tailored, customized for each job you apply to. Routine, generic resumes will not get much notice, but if your resume is specifically aligned and tailored, you have a better chance of getting noticed. Your resume format, and I kind of took it for granted that everyone knows this. So there are 3 resume formats. So there is the what I call reverse chronological order. There is the combined, there is the functional. You want to use the reverse chronological format all the time, because that's an easy to read format. You want to bullet instead of paragraph your responsibilities. Again, easy to read flows. Remember, you only have 6 seconds to make an impression. We're not going to read paragraphs, but we will glance the bullets, right? So you want to make sure that you use that format for your resume. And then, of course, no more than 3 to 7 compelling bullets. I don't want to have a whole sheet of paper of bullets for one job, right? No more than 3, your strongest, 3 to 4 responsibilities in a compelling bullet format based on the requirements that you see in the job description. You're bringing all of that together to help your resume be a winning resume. And then restrict to 1 to 2 pages, please. The good way to do that is your maximum job history is 10 to 15 years. I don't want to see 20 years, 30 years of experience. There are a lot of reasons for that. 1, it makes your resume too long. 2, almost anything you did 20 and 30 years ago is irrelevant to what you're doing now. Things change, systems change, software change, things change. So make sure. Now, most recruiters will say 10 years. I add the extra 5 years for people like me, who feel like, you get a more complete picture, but you want to make sure you go back no further than 10 to 15 years on your experience. Okay? Use your keywords. Use your keywords. Make sure you use your keywords. These are the things that are going to make your resume stand out. These are the things that are going to provide you with a winning resume and increase your chances of being one of those that the recruiter is going to be impressed with as they give you that 6-second scan. Okay? And that's it.
Okay,
So,
I have questions. No.
Okay, good.
One I wanted to ask, and I'm sure a couple of ladies on the call would probably have this question too, is because when you are self-employed, so like I've been self-employed since 2007, but I do still take on corporate roles just when I want to and can use the benefits and 401k. But I've had people ask me about my firm. It's like, oh, are you still working for yourself? Like they kind of question it because I feel like they feel I may not either have time for their job or that I may not be dedicated to their job. So how do you form that on your resume if you know that you're still operating your business, but you're also looking for a corporate role?
Yeah, you're right, Lawan. That's going to be the concern. The concern is going to be, well, if you are doing your own thing, are you going to have the level of commitment, the time to do what we need you to do? So it's not unusual right now for people to have, and I know your situation, because your situation is like me. Like I'm totally independent. Well, I actually don't take any full-time job, but you want to make sure that, I mean, you're just going to let them know. I honestly, I hear what you're saying because I've had that happen, especially if you're doing the same kind of thing, right?
Yeah. And it's usually for me, it's not a problem. I just know the other ladies may have that question because I found that they look at my experience and what I'm bringing to them, they don't care what I'm doing in my spare time.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, if you are doing freelancing, kind of what you're applying for, it just really adds to your level of experience and expertise, and that's how you're going to have to present it, right? And if business is slow or you're doing it on a part-time basis, you may want to include that in there. If it's a company that's going to be really funny about it, then you may just have to make a decision, right?
And I was faced with that once when Bandcamp helped me get that role at Bandcamp. And when Bandcamp moved to Epic, Of course, they were ones who wanted to know what else were you doing, like any outside activity.
Right.
And when I reported mine, they did say that that would be a conflict and I would have to choose. And I'm not giving up my company. So, of course,
Exactly.
I decided to take a nice severance and go on. But yeah, that's
so
one of the questions. Yeah.
So this is what I advise, right? So you have that conversation, you're upfront and honest if you're planning to continue in your independent working. If you're going to step back on that for a while you take this position, then you close out your experience date on your resume, right? You close that out. Cool. And that way you don't get any concerns. If you know that you're going to be dedicated to this position that you're applying to, close that out. And, that way you don't get a whole lot of scrutiny as to, how are you going to do both of those. The other thing too, just be mindful that if you're looking for something that's the same as what you're doing, it is a total conflict of interest for you to do that. So you want to be, just be honest and upright in your business dealing, and you won't have any issue. If you're going to do it, then, put the pedal to the metal and, grind it out and do it. But if you're to a position where say you need a break, right? You need some downtime to kind of refocus your strategy or whatever, but you still need to work in the meantime, then close it out. Put an end date on it until you get ready to actually go back into it full speed ahead.
All right, Miss Maxine has her hand raised.
Yes, Miss Maxine.
Okay, thank you again for tonight's presentation. It did confirm some things I'm doing right, and some areas where I can improve. So I do appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thank you. I just wanted to know your views on cover letters.
Ooh. You notice I didn't put that in here.
I know, but it's like every.
So let me tell you. And I said somebody is going to ask me about cover letters. I'm going to be real honest about them, right? You have two schools of thought with cover letters. I personally don't like cover letters. I don't read them, right? I think they're useless. However, if there's a situation where, say, you're applying for a position and it's here in Atlanta, but you live in California, you can use that cover letter to kind of explain that you're in the process of relocating, right? You have family here in Atlanta and you will be here in the next 3 weeks or whatever. So, that's going to be helpful. In situations like that, I think cover letters are great. Just to recount what's on your resume, I think cover letters are useless. And I know recruiters that will say, bite your tongue for saying that, but I don't know any who read cover letters. So I say to you, if there's a situation, and there will be, where when you're applying for a position, they say cover letters are required, then you write a cover letter, right? Otherwise, I think that it is up to you. I am telling you, as someone who's been in this industry for over 15 years, more 20 years, maybe 3% of recruiters maybe read cover letters. But, just as a part of the total package, if you want to do one paragraph cover letter, put it in there. It's not going to hurt you. It's just not going to get read.
I appreciate
I'm being honest.
I appreciate it.
I do, though, as a part of my job search strategy program, I do help my clients with a cover letter. It's very, look, it's a one paragraph, maybe 3 sentences, just asking them, to take a look at my resume. You know, I am very excited for this opportunity. I have high regards for your organization. Thank you very much. Right? So I will do that, but I just don't put a lot of emphasis on cover letters because cover letters don't get a lot of play in recruiting.
Naomi, you have a question? Are you muted?
I was on. Oh, yep, there I'm on mute. Yes, just to kind of ditto what Tina's saying. I recently went through an interview process for a financial planning and analysis role, and I would say, in light of the cover letter, what I did was I practiced my cover letter in a sense. I didn't write one up, but I before the interview, I looked at my resume, making sure that my resume clearly showed why I was a good fit for the role. But I would say one of the tips that I got from the manager who was kind of coaching me for the interview was, in light of that cover letter, what you can do is practice two things. Tell me a little bit about yourself, because that's basically that's kind of like what the cover letter enhances. So tell me a little bit about yourself, where you can kind of get into your character, because your managers want to know what kind of character they're hiring. And then why are you, the clear understanding of the role, I would say, is the most important bullet, because the second part of that is, why are you a good fit for the role? And I would say those are the two questions that did come up in my interview. And I would say those are the two questions where I said, like, I spent the longest time talking about, which I believe is what ultimately helped them to select me for the role. So if you, instead of having a cover letter, if you can just sit down and kind of coach yourself on who you are and in relationship to this role, and why you're the best fit for it, why you want that role, I would say you don't really need one. Just be able to kind of like have that elevator speech in your head.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. They're not going to read the cover letter, right? Then everything they need is on the resume. But when you are in an interview situation, you need to be able to sit down there and verbatim say why you're the best fit for this role. You're going to get asked that question at an interview. You're going to get asked. So you need to know that. So you're right. Practice that. And, be able to talk about yourself in the context that is suitable for the role, right? And you'll do great. You'll do great. So we're going into interviewing 101, because now your resume was on point and you got the interview, right? So you're right. Thank you for that.
And one of the things I wanted to know too is about LinkedIn. I think a lot of people undervalue their LinkedIn profile. So the current corporate job, because I always keep one, but this is teaching, so it's completely separate. It's working for Surgeon. And they found me. I wasn't in the market. I wasn't looking. I'm doing my own thing over here in running my firm. And the recruiter contacted me. And I think that's why people have to realize that it's important to highlight what it is that you do in various roles. So like my LinkedIn shows that I've taught before. It shows that I've been a professor, even though that's not my current role. And it fell out the sky perfect for me. Like, didn't require me to leave my firm. They enjoy the fact that I consult on the side. Like, it's a part of everything that they do. So I want to make sure that people always, even if you're not in the market, still keep that open and updated.
Absolutely.
You never know what opportunities will literally fall in your lap.
Listen, I tell everybody, right? You own your career, right? You own your professional journey. You should always keep yourself open, keep your documents updated. You should have positions, notifications sent to you. You need to always be alert, because you never know what's going to happen, especially in the market that we are in today. So you want to make sure you keep yourself ready so you don't have to get ready, right? And think about it, people are not, used to be like my husband, he's been with Bank of America for 20 years. You know, people are not doing that anymore, right? What we're finding now that the average stay for a position, especially, you know, with the millennials, the younger folks, is 2 to 3 years. And 3 years is stretching it. So, transitioning positions or jobs is not what it used to be. Companies even like to see where folks have transitioned position because they think if you stayed at a position, you know, for 15 years, you've gotten stale, right? When you transition, you know, every 3 years or so, you're learning new things, you're picking up, you know, new knowledge. You're able to bring a lot more to the table than you know you know sat at the company for 20 years and you know doing the same thing. So yeah. So I tried to get my face back so I could smile at everybody, but I couldn't.
We
Carissa.
see you.
So are there any other questions? Are we good?
One last question
Okay.
since you brought up the millennials.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are transitioning out of college, looking
Mm-hmm.
for that foot in the door, and they
Mm-hmm.
have to create a resume. What suggestions would you give them? Would they put more transferable skills on their resume to stand out as far
Right.
as recruiting, or how would their resume look? Would it look a little differently?
Well, it's going to look a little different because they don't have the level of experience someone has who's in the job market, right? Depending on the position, you're going to use courses, right? You go into the financial services industry, you've taken, you know, economics and different financial courses. You're going to list the courses that you've taken that aligns with that industry. If you are part of, you know, organizations, associations, you're going to list those. And then you're going to talk a lot about your transferable skills. You're going to list more soft skills because that's the experience that you have. You're going to make sure that you scan that resume because there are, I mean, that job description for a staff accountant, you know, when they're looking for entry level, and you're going to make sure that that job description is reflected on your resume.
Awesome.
Oh, one more
So,
quick. Bachelor's degrees and AAs. I had a board meeting.
Stop.
I know,
Okay.
right? Exactly. I had
we didn't get into that. We didn't get into that, but yeah. And high school listed high schools. You should not be after your first year of college, where you've graduated, you should not see a high school on your resume, right? You should not see a high school on your resume. I'm sorry, what was the other ones that you
associates. Some people list like they have an AA.
Yeah,
Whatever.
I told my candidates, my coaching client, take their associate off of your resume. It does not, it means nothing.
Yeah.
Now that you have a bachelor's, it's irrelevant. It does not help one bit. So if you know, are 5-year or you're a college graduate and you have an associate degree on your resume, just remove it. It's not helping you. It doesn't matter, honestly.
And
You
then
have a bachelor's degree.
And then the job market, as we continue to talk to, you know, we want to go into high school students and all of that, and we're trying to encourage them to go past all of that anyway. Like in my opinion, and you can tell me your professional opinion, this is my opinion. AA degrees, you know, is that going to help you get a job? BS. Like I'm thinking at this point, you need to be hitting masters and above if you really want to be a real player in any profession. So
Absolutely.
Lot of, well, should I go get an AA in accounting? Why? That's what I say. Why? Like, no, you go get a bachelor's or
go get a bachelor's degree. Right. Yeah. Go get a bachelor's degree. Honestly, go get a bachelor's degree. Go get a bachelor's degree. If you can do that, get a bachelor's degree, okay? If you cannot do that, and the only thing you can do is to get an associate degree, if you're gonna go into like clerical working and you're gonna get an associate degree in administrative, that kind of thing, then that's great. Otherwise, really shoot for the bachelor's because the market is competitive, y'all. The market is competitive. And companies are going to be looking for the individuals. They don't look for associate degrees. There's not one job description you will see that says they're looking for an associate degree. So that's that.
All right, Naomi, you want to close out? Last question. We got to get Tina out of here. You muted.
Muted again. Sorry, Tina. So my last question is, I had someone reach out to the lady CPA with a specific question. If you're an adult learner, let's say you're getting your bachelor's, you're finishing a master's in accounting around like 33, and then you still have to get your CPA exam. Well, how can you kind of speak this on your resume if you not just a gap in your resume, but you're a whole adult learner who's trying to transition into accounting and finance for the first time as a Black woman? I'll put that caveat there.
So you're leaving one profession and going into the accounting profession? Is that
this is your first this is your first bachelor's degree, and you're in your 30s at this point. So this is your first bachelor's degree, your first master's degree. You have no experience. You are getting your education and trying to finish the CPA exam in your early to mid 30s.
Okay. So you have some experience. It may not be that experience, but you have to be creative and be able to take the lessons learned out of the experience that you have if it's this situation, right? Because if you're 30 or in your 30s and you're getting your bachelor's degree or whatever, you did something before that. Say you were a stay-at-home mom and you managed a household, right? And you raised and coached and managed and children. You find a way, and I know someone who did this. You find a way to take those transferable skills and build your resume. And that's one of the things too, when I said your experience is not just the bullets on the job description. If you're in a job, your experience is what you actually did, right? And so if you've been a stay-at-home mom and your kids are now all graduated and, they've gone to college and become doctors, lawyers, and Indian chiefs, kudos to you. It took something to make that happen. It took skills, right? So you're going to use that, and you're going to be able to go in and you're going to talk to the hiring manager and you're going to explain to them how, you have all of these skills as a result of doing this for the last 20 years. So it can be done. I've seen it done before. But that's what you're going to have to do. You draw up on your skills, anything you've done that's transferable, and you're going to creatively create your resume to reflect that. Right? Any volunteer work you did, whatever you did during that time, you're going to make sure that you use that to your advantage. Okay. So I'm going to close out. I do have a 7:30 meeting. It has been just an absolute pleasure. I love it every time I connect with this group. I think that you guys are just incredible. I did tell Clarissa that I will be offering discounts to Lady CPA members, the Lady CPA members who may be looking for coaching opportunities, whether it's job search strategy, career transition. And what I'll do, and I don't know, Lawan, you tell me how to do this, is I do want to get a copy of my coaching brochure to you to share. And, I would be looking to provide a discount on any of those services should someone from Lady CPA be interested. Okay.
Yep, make sure you send that over and we'll get it posted. And we'll send it out to the attendees for today as well.
Okay, that sounds great. That sounds great. Well, thank you so much, everybody. I hope this has been helpful. It has been my pleasure. And I look forward to connecting with you guys again. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you for your
Thank you,
time.
Tina.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, ladies,
Thank
thank you who all joined us this evening so much for taking this time out of your day. Make sure you follow us on social. We do have other events coming up, study sessions, also events that's just to help your overall growth, either starting business functions, anything that we can do to help. If you guys have any suggestions on what you want to see from us, make sure you let us know. You can always email us or go to our website and hit the chat box and send us a message as well. If there's any information that you would like from us or any webinars that you would like to see us present. Ladies, did y'all have any other announcements?
No, we'll be announcing the next session up with the next coming days. So just be on the lookout for that on LinkedIn and IG.
Awesome. Awesome. And make sure y'all are sharing, ladies. When you see our posts come up, make sure you share with your network, your friends, your family. All of these events are open to everyone. So it's not just women in accounting and finance. They're open to everyone that can gain from the knowledge. So make sure you guys share. I have recorded this session. So if you want the recording, Clarissa will send it out. As soon as it's ready, Clarissa, I'll send you the link.
Sounds great.
All right. Have a great evening, ladies.
Thank
night,
you.
everyone.
Take care.